Hey guys, so today I'm going to show you a little bit more of my closet garden. Some of you have asked specifically to see it and how I kind of built it out with my, my dad. You probably would have seen it in any of my home tours because I've had it for quite a few years, but I'll tell you a little bit more about the genesis of how this all came together. This video is brought to you by Aspiration, a financial firm with a conscience. Basically, a magazine had approached me and they were proposing to turn people's closets into gardens. And I thought that was a great idea, but they kind of went cold on me and never got around to doing it. And they stopped answering my emails. And I had already cleared out all my clothes. So you could see that this is a place where you would hang your clothes, right? And I just got it in my head that that's just such a great idea, and hence the closet garden. And look, I get a lot of great light. This is a southwest facing window. I do have a Soltech Solutions light right here. I was debating whether we need to turn it off or on because sometimes it gives a little weird lighting when we're on the camera, but it's great because it adds a little bit more light, especially when it's a gray day. Today, we actually have sun. And then I have some under the shelf lighting right here. So that provides some light for this second tier. And there's nothing like overly complicated. I mean, this was a closet space already. And you see that there are just kind of like these movable shelves. So that was quite handy. And because I'm giving up my closet, I still wanted to have some space underneath. So the idea was to elevate this shelf. And you can see I have my air conditioning unit right behind there. And those are really hard to actually, store in your house. So, that just provides a little bit of storage unit for that. So you can see I have all the electrical gear down there. I have my Aero Swiss, which is my humidifier, which I don't need right now. And then I have some stones and things like that. So, I keep it kind of clean, but still. So that's nice that I could just like easily move this without like breaking my back. And my closet garden has really like shifted up and will continue to shift because as I'm spending more time upstate, I want to still have plants here, but maybe have plants that don't need all my attention. And we're filming this in the winter, and the plants in the winter need a little less attention because the intensity of the light is as such where it's not that intense and they don't require all that much water. In the summer months, they require a little bit more water, but I pretty much moved all of my aloes, and I have an agave here, my snake plants as well, here to the bottom shelf. And these plants are much easier to take care of. And I really got into aloes over the last number of months. I just think that some of the cultivars are just really gorgeous. I mean, look at some of these species. Some of these are species and cultivars, but the mosaic aloes I find to be just so attractive. And some of these other aloes, believe this is Aloe ferox, have this verdigris hue, which is just so beautiful. I think this is Aloe thrascii. This has really put on a lot of girth since the last time I've filmed it, which was in the Aloe Care Guides. And you could see that one of my Schlumbergeras is actually in bloom. Some of the blooms are a little spent. I like a little bit more of how this looks. Sometimes it can look a little chaotic because you're just cramming a lot of plants in one place. This philodendron has put on a lot of new leaves, and you could see that it has some of these extraflora nectaries. So this is a little sticky. And sometimes it drips on the plants below, so I have to be a little bit more mindful of that. But a lot of my leafy varieties have had to move because in the summer months, it gets really intense light and you always need to be watering them and be mindful of them because they do have a tendency to burn. Even plant leaves that are under the Soltech Solutions light, like this philodendron right here, it will start to yellow up. It gets a little chlorotic because it's just too much light that it just starts breaking down the chlorophyll. But the other thing that I have here that is really helpful in my closet garden, you'll see I have this upper shelf as well. But what's behind the upper shelf is these humidity trays you'll see here. And they have a little bit of wetness. And I, just like right here, you can see they're a little moist on top. So basically there's water in this little hole. So this is, I don't actually water these plants. I water this mat right here, this little container. And as this water is going down in the container, it picks it up on this felted mat. And then I have all of these basically terracotta pots that take up the water. That is super helpful. So if I'm away for 2 weeks, this should be fine. And I don't have to water it constantly. Like, this doesn't always have to be moist, because you do want to let your plants dry out after a while. So sometimes I'll water this for a week, 2 weeks, and let it sit for about a week or 2 weeks. And the plants are usually good. Some of the ones that I might have to move are these Tenanthes, because they are a thinner leaf variety, and in the summer months they might have to move. Maybe I'll take them up on the new property. I don't really know. I don't really want to fill the new property up with a ton of plants though, because we're going to have to be doing some construction. And the only time that I really felt stressed with my plants is when I had construction here over the course of 2.5 years. And then I had to move all my plants out of their place and put them into the center of my living room. And when things are out of place in general, that like really stresses my mind. And so I kind of lived in this like limbo for a while. But, you know, when they're in their place, you can imagine it starts to feel a little bit more organized, even though you have a lot of plants. And for right now, I'm very pleased with how this is turning out. And again, like I said, it's going to have to evolve as I evolve and as I spend a little bit more time in different places. But for the most part, I think I'm really finding my stride here with more of these succulent plants. I have to show you this like succulent Hoya. This is actually in bloom. I think I took a photo of it, but it bloomed quite a number of months ago. This is another aloe. Delta Lights, really love that growth structure. I have this Isoclades, which is a type of orchid, also pretty succulent though. So more succulents, a little less need for having to care for them. But yeah, that's my closet garden. I mean, again, not any kind of like extreme workmanship here. So as you can see, there's no, you know, this is raw wood. It's not really finished, right? So it's just a plank of wood on some 2x4s, and we have some felt on the bottom, so it's easy to kind of pull out. Again, this is unfinished. I mean, I don't know why you would finish it, because I do kind of water sometimes a little haphazardly here, so, you know, the wood gets a little funky. I mean, you know, if you have a wooden dresser, you want to be as ginger as possible and as careful as possible when you're watering your plants, but sometimes we're not. And then the other thing I would say is that just so I'm not looking at the light, you know, you could see that we built this like a little perpendicular, had this perpendicular piece of wood and then this angled triangle wood that goes inside so that the light is kept on the inside and you're not like looking at this kind of bright white light when you're, you know, out in the bedroom, which is great. And these are all on timers, I should say. So all of these lights automatically turn on and they automatically turn off. So they're on for about 12 hours a day, which is so great because I want to be able to set it and forget it. And that's really hard to do when you have this many plants. And now especially that I am in upstate New York, setting it and forgetting it takes on a new meaning because I'm going to be away for a week or 2 weeks. All right, I see my pigeons outside. They're asking for food, so I'm going to feed them. And yeah, that's my closet garden. Several months back, I opened up an account with a financial firm called Aspiration, which aligns more closely with my values. Now, they provide a much needed digital banking alternative to big banks, which, if you're not familiar with, can take 100% of your deposits for investing and lending into industries you may not support at all. So even if you think your money is sitting idly in a bank account, it's usually not. That and your monthly fees and any overdraft fees are often used to invest in things like fossil fuels and private prisons and firearms. And according to an article in the New York Times, banks took $11 billion just in overdraft fees alone in America in 2019. Much of that going into industries I think most of us don't care to support. Now, Aspiration is a certified B Corp, which offers lots of opportunities for folks who want to use their finances to make a positive impact. Firstly, they have a couple of debit card options. One is called the Aspiration Card, which helps plant trees as you round up your purchases through their Plant Your Change initiative, which has already planted 3 million trees through their partners like the Arbor Day Foundation. Then they have the Aspiration Plus card option, which has a suite of benefits, including 10% cash back on more conscious purchases through their coalition of partners. So I'm very pleased that there is an option out there like this, and relieved to have a financial institution that fits more of the way I flow. So if you want more information or you want to start an account, you could use the URL here or in the description below. Oh yeah, fruit and nut. Oh my God, guys, that's fruit and nut blend from the country. Oh, somebody's not scared.